Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Go Again Gaming and the League That Means Nothing Season 3. Bigger, better means even less. And you have me here, your voice of the league, Ian Holland. Today, we have an interesting matchup. Not originally part of the league, but a new challenger has approached. Josh Lau stepping in the shoes of Olympia, prized fighter, taking on Ovas Siddiqui, a reasonably well-known player from the Florida area. I personally met Ovas playing against him in Pro Tour LA, and he was part of the chronicling of the Go Again Gaming debauchery in Japan. And you'll look to find him in London as well. Now, Ovas is taking on his favorite class, playing New Alluring Desire, huge Assassin fan. And this is going to be a really interesting game because I don't know how it goes. I surely New gets to outgrind this, but you're not really stealing any blues that make a difference from Olympia. Like, his best card is a blue in Up the Ante, but most of those are attack reactions, and I imagine Olympia is going to be pretty protective of them. Meanwhile, Josh is going to try and win some wagers, I guess. Josh Lau, obviously, of the card guys. Think he's well known. Anyone else heard of him? Sure, we'll find out. With that, I'm going to throw it over to the game in this very obscure matchup that you won't see anywhere else, except on Go Again Gaming for the league that means nothing.
Another sponsor for the League That Means Nothing Season 3. It's Az here talking about Void Games out of Crewe in Cheshire. Tom, Big Boss Book Club on Twitter, does run this shop, and he's had some fantastic events so far. He's had Skirmish Season, of course, the ProQuest as well that we streamed on Go Again Gaming. So just a fantastic shop that's got a lot going for it, and in the future it's going to have a lot more events as well, hopefully going forward. So make sure you go and check them out when you can. Pop in the store. It's a great little shop. There might be some images or videos flashed up here for you. But thanks for Tom for sponsoring the League That Means Nothing Season 3 and being an advocate for just casually gaming in all forms of different systems and different tabletop games. So yeah, cheers Tom, and let's get on with the tournament.
Okay, and it looks like we have Josh going first. You can tell he's a warrior stan with the sheer bling of the cold foil. And not to be outdone, we have Ovas with his cold foils, with his signed equipment. Both heroes rocking the marble, and we're pitching a commanding performance for a Centauri Saber. Centauri Saber probably not going to find a lot of purchase with that +1 effect because of New's ability to block with attack reactions, which do not obviously give it that buff. And here we pitch immediately an Up the Ante. X is 3, pitching a blue. So we're going to wager an agility, a gold, a vigor, and give the attack +3. Damn. Like, Josh going all in here. And what is that? A beautiful Olympia token that he's created. And obviously, everyone's favorite Josh Lau with his Josh Lau sleeves showing off his face. And it looks like he might be losing this wager after all, with Ovas throwing out that fate foreseen. Assassin's pretty accustomed to silver, not so accustomed to gold. But there we have Ovas winning his wager, getting his gold, his agility, and his vigor token. So Ovas gets to start the game with an extra resource and with a free go again. Now, bit of a problem when most assassins start their turns with daggers, but we'll see. It looks like Josh is running a full stack here. Either that or his sleeves are just that thick. Ovas obviously taking his time here, playing his new on his Japanese new playmat, really flexing everything here. And I feel like that Spider's Bite that Ovas has in his equipment slot isn't going to find a whole lot of purchase here either. But the first thing we do is we pitch a blue, we crack that gold, we've 2 floating. And here's a Scale Peeler. Now this is a card that does have a lot of text into Olympia, not just because as a warrior he has access to a phenomenal fridge, but because of Visit Golden Anvil, I think, card that no one has ever played ever. That Yeah. Can rebuy equipment late in the game when it's been cashed in for its ability or if it's been used to block and has been destroyed due to temper. Now, obviously, following that scale peeler up with this leave no witnesses, still holding 2 cards in hand, we could be looking at a +3, a +4 sort of pump here, and Josh trying to decide how worth it his arsenal is. Blocking with boots that don't block. All of us obviously letting Josh know, hey, you just took a scale peeler hit, man. I don't recommend it. And we're blocking with a edge ahead and the wager buff. That name escapes me right now, but here we have a red hiss from Ovas, who actually had 3 cards. Jesus. So we're going to up to 7, create a slither, give this go again. Still 1 card in hand. So really, who knows what's happening here? But we're pushing this over by 3. It looks like Josh is going to lose the top deck. Oh, no, he has in fact got a sink below. Obviously not telegraphing that sink below at all. So we're covering 10 here of us just choosing to move to the end of turn. Obviously playing his slither because he just didn't want it in his hand. And we're going to lead off with a Centauri Saber. No, current, go again. But this is coming in for 2. If it's defended by an attack, it gets +1 until the end of turn. Not usually what I'm used to seeing from Olympia. So all of us just going to leak 1 damage and get his point of value from the Arousing Wave. Usually Olympias these days have been on stuff like hatchets or the Decimator Great Axe builds. And here we have a Bonds of Agony. Big, scary card. Conventional wisdom with Bonds of Agony is, if you have one of your best cards in hand, block with it. Because if your new opponent is holding a full hand and arsenal, you don't know if you'll get to keep anything. This is my own experience here. And Josh taking out a dice. Is he going to flip a coin for this one? So we have Bonds currently for 1. If you've played 3 attack reactions this combat chain, Link, it gets +3 and gets the text of your opponent reveals their hand, you take a card, and then you extract all copies of that card from their deck in one of the colors, right? Up to 3 copies, which is usually if you hit a Majestic, you just take the full set. So Josh really been put in a position, but unjustifiably in a position he'd rather not be in, but nothing means nothing at the end of the day, and he'll find his way through it because he is a master of attack reactions. He is the Dorinthia specialist. He is the Bolton guy. He is the warrior guy. Has played all of them to some degree. The one he seems to have played the least is Kasai, and the card guys have certainly made their feelings about Kasai as a warrior known. So let's see if Josh is going to block or is he going to call a bluff. So we're going to throw out 7. 7 covers a hiss or something to that effect. Yeah, so we're going to Path Well Travel to give it go again. So we get our first Transcend for new. We're going to activate the Mask of Recurring Nightmares as our first attack reaction, which forces Josh to banish a card from his hand. And then we have Justinic as our second attack reaction, giving this a +5 buff. Now we're waiting on 1 more reaction. So we're up to 6 with the potential of going up to 9. I feel like Josh must have a defense reaction of some kind here. Let's see what Ovas has. Because obviously if he cracks that Arousing Wave, which he blocked with the last turn, that'll be a +1 and a +3 because it will be the third reaction. Instead, Ovas is just going to let it go. Goes there. Still Ovas's turn. He has the go again. And we're going to gain 3 from Sigil of Solace, putting ourselves to a comfortable 42, and then play a Codex of Frailty, which I imagine is going to get back a Leave No Witnesses. Codex of Frailty absolutely backbreaking against warriors because it's giving -1 to any weapon attacks. I feel like Josh may cash that last card in hand in for a bit of blocking. That and the prized Galea, maybe? Yeah, so we're blocking with the Galea and an Iron Song response blue. And then we're going to close up with Ovas cracking his ponder, drawing a card, sticking it in an arsenal. And it looks like Josh is just, with no resources, is just passing through. Again, we're leaving New with a full hand here, but one of the problems with New in general is the ability to use a 5-card hand is quite limited because you can draw brick up on attacks or reactions. You really need to find a nice balance of both, and this is one of those cards in Flesh and Blood that's just glue. It just holds decks together. It holds turns together. And it's E-Strike for 5 go again. Josh says, yeah, it's vanilla damage. Send me the bill. We're pitching into Scale Peeler using Tunic as well. So we have 2 floating. So Scale Peeler going to threaten the armor here, which to me, as an outside observer, suggests Command and Conquer. And Josh has been very protective of that arsenal for several turns. Yeah, there's the Command and Conquer right there with none floating. Non-floating means it's going to be it's just a flat 6. Because that Arousing Wave can create a Fang Strike token which can buff any attack, which always very relevant to remember that Command and Conquer for 6 isn't always going to be 6 when you're playing against New Alluring Desire. Josh now deciding whether his hand or his arsenal is better, or if it's knowing Josh Lau, he's a very patient player. He's a very contemplative card game player. He's more likely to try and preserve the life total. Yeah, there we have a Blade Flurry and a Shift the Tide of Battle. Some of those fantastic Majestics that Warrior got in the set Heavy Hitters. And one thing he'll always say for Warrior, if nothing else, not a lot of 3 blocks. I mean, the class is kind of in the dirt thanks to a certain illusionist who's not going to be named, but here we go. We're going to Iron Song Versus. We're going to Commanding Performance. And we're going to Centauri Saber. All off of blue. So his Saber is getting +3 on hit, make a courage, and if defended by an attack, very importantly, if defended by an attack action, Ovas will lose his arsenal. So it looks like we're getting a Stilettos block and a Sink Below. So I wonder, is Josh going to just let this ride? Does he have some way of pushing this over the top, getting his courage token, moving a new card into arsenal? Yep, and there we have it. Poker chip on the arsenal, the Josh Lau classic. And again, Ovas just starting off with that Scale Peeler. Just saying, your armor's not very good. It's not very helpful at all. So again, we take the 1 from the dagger, and here comes a Surgical Extraction for 4. So Contracted to banish blue cards. On hit, look at the opponent's hand. You get to take a card and you banish the top card of their deck. Not that assassins really have a lot of use for silver, but New does run enough blues that, getting 1 or 2 silver can let you cash out bad cards in the future. Just turn your junk blues into potentially better cards, and instead we are just going to Fate Foreseen from Arsenal. So let's see, what else have we got here? Ovas is cashing in that Arousing Wave to give a +1 to this Surgical Extraction. See what we banish here. It looks like we have a snag. A little bit of tech here. Card that was at one point at least a €20 card back in the chain meta when it absolutely bodied Riftbind, but found new purchase in the fight against New Alluring Desire, reducing any attack reactions. They still get obviously the on-hit effects, but they just don't get the reaction. It doesn't actually give the buff. So we're going to play a Slice and Dice, pitch a Slice and Dice for Versus, and send a Centauri Saber for 1. 1 buff. On hit, make a Courage. So this is coming in for 3. You have to believe as well that Josh has a plan for this. Some method of gaining Go Again to get that extra +3 value off of this Slice and Dice. Depending on how Olvas blocks, of course. So Olvas just taking the hit, 3, and then Josh is going to pop his Refraction Bolters here. So now his second Saber is going to come in because it gains Go Again thanks to the destruction of Refraction Bolters, those lovely cold foil Alpha Refraction Bolters, Josh. Very nice, I see you. So that means his next sword is going to get +1 from the Courage, +3 from the Slice and Dice, and it's going to come in for a whopping 6 damage for 1 resource. Not too bad. We take those. And Josh still with a card in hand. Josh nearly forgot about his own Courage token. Shocking. Shocking for a warrior. Now, the question is, does Josh have a way of forcing this through? Maybe he pops the Prize Galea here as well, wins a wager. Looks like he is just going to tick down the life totals here. And there we have it. Some finally dealt some sort of damage now, and Josh able to move on with this game, slowly starting to build a little bit of momentum. Ovas, stop me if you've heard this one before. Sparks are flying in this heated battle. Scale Peeler for 1. 2 cards in hand, card in Arsenal. And yeah, Josh just saying, yeah, I'll take the 1, I guess. Are we going to follow up with another dagger? That does not fill me with inspiration for this deck. And here we have a persuasive prognosis. I can understand Ovas now that I'm thinking about it, taking the spider's bite instead of the mistblade. Mistblade, the only dagger without piercing. Piercing, pretty effective against such a fridge-heavy deck as a warrior. Anyway, persuasive prognosis, stealth card. Banish the top card. When it hits, banish the top card of the opponent of the hero's deck. Then look at their hand and banish a card with the same color as the banished card. And gain life when you banish actions. Obviously, news text very relevant with stealth cards. You banish any cards that defend stealth cards, any action cards, that is. But Josh, blocking with a Blade Runner here, card will not go to banish. See if Ovas has a way of pumping this over. And we do see a Siren's Call. So Josh now has to reveal his hand, and Ovas gets to choose a blue card from it. And if he does, he adds it to the chain link as a defending card and draws a card. Siren's Call. That's a lot of text for one resource reaction. Like, that's a lot of text. Why does your Thoughtseize get to draw a card? What? It's not really a Thoughtseize because it's so particular. It's more of an Inquisition. But why does it get to draw a card? Someone answer me that. You're already going up you're trading a card for a card. That's fine. Why does it have card advantage as well? And also the fact that you can staple Siren's Call onto a dagger. You can push that piece of damage through anywhere. It's not a card that gives a damn about actually hitting. It's a card that cares about messing with your opponent's hand. And we're revealing the hand, and there's an Up the Ante, forced to block, and we have a snag and a Blade Runner as well. So this is full blocked. Ovas gets to draw his card, and they go to the graveyard because they are not action cards. So it's going to be very hard for Nu to actually enable her hero text at all in this game. But Josh obviously shows he has the resources to exactly play for a standard warrior turn of sword with go again, slightly bigger sword. And that looks like it's exactly what he's doing. Sword for 2 into sword for 5. So of us taking the 2, and then we have sword for 5, buffed by 3 from the Blade Runner. This is going to be an interesting one. Not in the traditional sense, but this is a game that's going to go long. Let me tell you, there's no way 2 decks that love to grind are going to go fast. And we're seeing that now with our already 20 minutes in, opponents still above 30 life. This is not the kind of flesh and blood you'll ever catch me playing, let me tell you. But anyway, we have Scale Peeler for 1. Josh again taking the 1. This Scale Peeler going coast to coast. And Ova's thinking about what his next plan of attack is going to be. It looks like we're getting another dagger. Ooh boy. Nope, instead we're going to levels for 3 go again. That might prompt some amount of interaction from Josh. But again, it's just 3 vanilla, so he looks like he does not really care. And then we're following that up with a Bonds of Attraction. Strange to me that this is a rare. This is in nearly every deck. When it hits a hero, banish the top card of the deck, then banish a card from the graveyard. When it banishes a card, if it banished a card with the same color, gain a life. Okay, so let's see if Josh decides whether he wants to block this Olgas with a single card in hand. Not a lot going on. More importantly, though, he does have that tunic resource. So that card could be a hiss or a venomous bite or something like that. And just sneak that point of damage through here. At what point are we ever going to see Josh Lau start forcing some gold through? Because really, the gold is the payoff. I heard that. We hit a sink below. We hit a red. So that is in the banish zone. And now Elvas gets to banish a red. Well, he gets to banish any card from the graveyard. But if he chooses to banish a red, he gets that. Now, if he banishes that snag, and he has a chi in hand, he can actually use that and snag. Kind of good against the sort of thing that warriors want to do. So Olvas needs to decide whether he wants the 2 points of life or... Yeah, so we're just banishing a Glint the Quicksilver. So we get our life, our point of life. And we're going to move along. Josh, a very threatening blue slice and dice, a +1 and a +1. Woohoo! Pitching a hit and run, activating Iron Song versus. So this next saber is going to be for 6 go again. Wow, that's a lot better. So we get a +1 from Slice and Dice and a +3 from Unsheath. The new card that came in the expansion slot for Rosetta gives +3, and if it's double the base power of the weapon, if the weapon's power is now double its base, it gains Go Again. So this is 6 on-hit courage and 2 cards in hand. And now Josh gets to play the mind games of, do I have reactions? Who knows? Maybe I don't. And we do, in fact, have a reaction. We have a Blade Flurry pumping this up to 8 damage and pushing through all of those on hits unless Ovas has exactly 2 D-reacts. And instead, we're finally below 30 on both sides of this table. And then the Courage token plus the +1 from Blade Runner plus the +2 from Blade Flurry should make this saber a 6-point attack. Which is pretty good for this hand. And looks like Ovas is going to give up what appears to be a Venomous Bite and take 3. And we still haven't seen, and after turn 1, we have not seen a single wager from this Olympia. Maybe Josh just decided he was just that good, you know? Both these players played in LA. Josh, I hear, had some amount of success, a little bit more than me, you know how it is. You can't win them all, I guess. Decided to hamstring himself for the league that means nothing. Play a warrior that his cat chose for him to play in Worlds, but really he wanted to save it for the more important tournament. That is the league that means nothing 3. And we have a double transcend using Preserved Tradition, putting a Codex of Frailty back into the deck, and a Homage to Ancestors. So Ovas gaining a life, double Marvel, typical Ovas, max rarity boy right there. If it's shiny, he got it. Now let's see what we have here. Pitching a Cosmic Awakening, sending a Scale Peeler. So Josh taking the Scale Peeler as he has done all game. And what have we got following up here? Pitching a Chi to Mask of Recurring Nightmares as our attack reaction, forcing Josh to banish a period. I can't remember what that one does. It is +1 piercing Go Again, maybe, or +1 Go Again. Precision Press. Now we have another leave no witnesses. There's been an awful lot of Arsenal disruption this game for Olympia. And let's see what Josh decides to do here. When does he just let it go? Thinking about this one, like giving this one the big thinks. Josh just going to sink below here from Arsenal. So we're eliminating that value point, and then an activation of new for Ovas, hitting a glint the Quicksilver. Pretty nice. Not bad. Not off. We hit a blue there. Now, there's not a lot we can really do with any of those blues, at least not right now. But more importantly, Ovas has Tucci stacked with that Cosmic Awakening. So, as long as that deck doesn't get shuffled, there's at least 2 chi there with a Cosmic Awakening. So 3 blues would make that an easy 15, which, by the time we see it again, could be pretty relevant. And instead, Josh is just going to lead with a hit and run and a Centauri Saber with go again. So 2 go again. Just a little 2 go again. 1 card in hand. Knows what will happen here. Now, there's a good chance that my prediction would be that Josh just goes Saber for 2 into Courage, Saber for 2, versus Saber for 2. Why not? Get that last card into the arsenal because the setups in this are so important. And instead, what we have is actually an activation of the prize Galea. We're finally going to wager, ladies and gentlemen. We have a plus. We have target weapon, wagers a gold. And now winning a gold plus Olympia's hero text saying when you win a wager, you get a gold. So that's 2 gold and the first down payment to be found in the Golden Anvil. And now we have a Centauri Saber for 2. Of us really not wanting to waste real cards on this, and Josh going to move to the arsenal. In the aftermath, in the resolution step, we have 2 more chi. Now we do have a stir the pot, which means that pitch stack is getting shuffled. But we do have a grain that tips the scale. Obviously, you can target attacks in the resolution step, and that means Josh doesn't get to deal the extra point of damage, but Ovas still gets his transcend. So we're going to shuffle the deck, and I imagine we're going to see some new activations, some Mask of Recurring Nightmares, some sort of shenanigans are going to happen here. Just doing it the old League That Means Nothing webcam cut. Josh gets to choose the order those little stacks get put on top, making sure that just because it means nothing doesn't mean it's not fair. Josh drawing up, I think I saw a truce in his hand. That's spicy. You may definitely want to avoid getting that one banished by New because that's a card that she can play and has played in from opponents. I have seen it happen to huge effect. And we're going to start with a scale peeler for 1. Stop me if you've heard this before. This is not a broken record. This is not a track skipping. This is just how I'm almost certain every turn of this game has started for our New. Josh, thinking about it, I think he's pretending to think about it because this scale peeler is easily done like 5 or 6 points of damage here. And now we have a Mask of Recurring Nightmares activation with the Chi, and Josh going to choose what to banish. Don't banish the truce, Josh. Banishing what looks like a red slice of dice. It is an action card, but it's not one that New can make use out of because it is red. Now with that 2 chi in the pitch zone, all of us gets to choose 2 modes on this Levels of Enlightenment. So it's going to be 3, go again, draw a card. Such a powerful card, man. What if we made E-Strike, but different and slightly better? Anyway, Josh having a think here, blocking with his truce to make sure that's not going into the banish unless OS plays something like the Sacred Art Undercurrent of Desire, he says, hopefully. And then we have a Command and Conquer just to follow it up. So pretty good turn from our new here. Let's see what Josh Lau decides to do. So he can't cash in any of his armor here. We're going to block with an edge ahead, take 3, and lose the Golden Anvil. That's tough. That is a tough spot. He was about to reset his armor, basically, do a little bit of Teklo Vossen shenanigans, and just put some more armor into play. Ovas drawing up to 4, going off Arsenal to do that turn. Let's see if he starts with a Scale Peeler. I'm shocked. I am shocked. Shocked, I tell you, not that shocked. And we have the answer. That all you got, says Josh Lau. Thanks for the extra card. And now we have a Bonds of Agony, 2 cards in hand, 2 attack reactions on board in the starts in play, stays in play equipment. And let's see what Josh decides to do here. Does he call the bluff? We've only seen, I think, 1 Justin Nick. No, we've seen 2. We've seen 1 played and 1 blocked with on turn 1. So we have a 7 block committed here with a In the Swing, and we're finally going to get some use out of the Iron Song Verses and Courage of Bladehold text that says can block. And Ovas going to pitch a chi to Mask of Recurring Nightmares, forcing Josh to banish a card from hand. And that's the first reaction. Josh choosing to banish this blue hit and run. Second attack reaction is the activation of the boots, the undertow stilettos, and the third attack reaction will be the slither that they create. And there we have it, slither. So this is a bonds for 4, which is still less than 7. So I have a feeling that all of us might have something here. Either he has something to buff this or he has something to follow it. And he, in fact, does. He has a Persuasive Prognosis as the follow-up. Let's see what Josh decides to do then. And we're just going to block with our not edge ahead. Hold 'em. That's the one. All these wager cards, man. I only remember them from Heavy Hitters draft, but of us gaining a life there, going to 21, and we're both at 21. So let's see what happens. Josh gets to rip a card here from the top of his deck, thanks to the that all you got, and gets, if he has a source of going in, he can pop this Courage of Bladehold to have a full turn. That, I think that's a Golden Anvil. So we're going to visit the Golden Anvil, destroy 2 gold, and re-equip 2 pieces of equipment. It's almost like they've done nothing at all. So we have a new Price Galea and a new set of Refraction Bolters. Looks like Josh might not have 2 sets of Cold Foil Refraction Bolters. Using both gold, re-equipping, Olympia is fully dressed again. And here we have a scale peeler. Coast to coast, baby. So yeah, we take the one from the scale pillar and we come in with a double trouble. If you've played or activated 2 more attack reactions this chain, it gets +2 and banishes 2 cards. Now we've only got 1 attack reaction on board, so this has to be either hiss or venomous bite to follow this up. And this is coming in for 1. So the most this could be is just a nick and venomous bite, which would make it a 10 more. Jesus, it would make it a 12, and that's as big as it can get. So let's see what Josh decides to do here. So we're just blocking with one of our, and then we have a venomous bite. So +3, +1, and this is going to put it to 7. I wonder, does Josh have a defense reaction here, knowing full well what he was expecting to face? And we do have a fade foreseen. Take the upper hand. That's the attack reaction that Josh blocked with. It gives +3 to an attack, but only if that attack is wagering, which is exceptionally mid, but it's free. And Ova's just moving to Arsenal, drawing up, and now we're back with Josh. Let's see what this. Is this a 2-card hand he's on now? 2 or 3? 3-card hand. Let's see what it can present. Well, that's a powerful start. We're going to pop Courage of Bladehold. So these Centauri Sabers are now free. We're going to unsheath. So this is going to be a Centauri Saber for 5 go again. For free. So you got to believe those are probably some attack reactions in hand there. Josh, look at his face, just staring at you. And Ovas just taking the 5. Yeah, go on. Go on, so. And then we have another one. The Centauri Saber for 2. Can't imagine we're cracking the Galea. And here's the last Justinic. So Josh is a very good player, so he definitely has noticed that is going, and we're giving this +3 with our in the swing, moving a card to Arsenal. We have dealt our new opponent a nice blow of 8 whole points of damage here. And we have freed up a chest slot for when we want to Golden Anvil. And again, we're just going to lead with a Scale Peeler, because why not? Surprised we haven't seen anything like a Take It On the Chin from our Olympia 2 prevention and then create an agility, but I imagine we have a somewhat limited amount of space for tech cards when we're running 2 full sets of equipment. And now we have a Spider's Bite coming in for 1 as well, so we've 2 dagger hits, and then we have a Mask of Recurring Nightmares. So I would put money on that being some kind of disruptive effect in the arsenal. Something like a Command and Conquer or something like that. And Josh thinking about what to banish to this Mask of Recurring Nightmares, which has gotten insane value this game. He's really been trying to hold on to this 4-card hand, so I imagine he's not super happy to see part of it go. But it could be a lot worse. Having to have probably doing some quick warrior mats, the type of thing that I wouldn't understand as someone who just cannot bring himself to play warrior. Maybe very occasionally you'll find me on Bolton. Once a year at least, and then I'll realise why I don't want to play Bolton. So I'll put him back in the box. Every time he gets some new cards, he comes out for a spin and I go, actually, no, I'm all right. And we are banishing a Golden Anvil. So that is all 3 copies of the Golden Anvil. Josh is not buying back any more equipment now. And we have Codex of Frailty, which is going to, again, heavily impact Josh's turn and get a CNC for Ovas. And Ovas is going to probably follow this up with the CNC, threatening Josh's arsenal, which I would expect because his turn is not looking super great right now. He's going to block and he's going to say, truce, truce, double truce, blocking 6. Ovas putting his stack to the bottom there, going to draw for his ponder. And Josh just going for a poke for 1. Anything you can do, I can do better. Except my saber does nothing. Ovas keeping a 5-card hand again. So let's see what we have in store here. Yep, scale peeler for 1. Taking 1. No, we're not taking 1. We are blocking with that all you got. And then we're following that up with just a command and conquer. Again, does Josh care about his arsenal this much? I'd be surprised. Yeah, we're going to see the Galea and we're going to see the Refraction Bolters plus a Blade Runner. Prevent this damage, threaten 6, and then we have another activation of the Mask of Recurring Nightmares, which, depending on the makeup of Josh's hand, could be good or bad. He may have something he wants to keep. But either way, he's banishing a Glint the Quicksilver. And when this combat chain closes, that all you got will draw him a card. I used to love that piece of tech in Zen, Tamer of Purpose, when I was playing into New. It was just a great way to cover up stuff like the Mistblade, stuff you didn't want to block. And here we have our 3rd copy of Unsheath. Still looking great. Pitching a Fate for Scene. So this Centauri Saber is coming in for 5. That's it. Just a cool 5. There might be an attack reaction in Arsenal that costs nothing. So let's see where we're at here. We're going to block with an Art of Desire Mind and a Bonds of Attraction. So we're blocking 6 on 5. And that their attack, so it goes up to 6 thanks to Centauri Saber's ability finally being relevant this game. And Josh just going to pass. Ovas leading with a scale peeler. And Josh finding that all you got. Making sure that if he really wants to block with that armor, he is more than happy to block with that armor. And now we have a Surgical Extraction for 4 coming in. Finally gaining some sort of momentum, some sort of purchase in this game. Josh Lau may want to just find a way to cover this up with a defense reaction or something and really start applying the pressure. Instead, we're going to give up the last point of block on our Iron Song versus and one of the 3 cards in hand. Yeah, we're blocking with our Hold'em. One thing I'll say about these wager cards, they might be terrible, but they block for 3. And Josh getting to draw another card off his 3rd That All You Got. Not a lot of wagering being done by Olympia. He's feeling very frugal with his betting lines today. And Josh going to lead with a card. Are we playing it? Looks like we might be. Maybe not. And yeah, it looks like we're wagering finally. Wagering a vigor with our edge ahead. So this is a Centauri Saber for 5. Pitching a Blade Runner and a Money Where Your Mouth Is. So we're going to block with a Hiss for 3, and probably we have a... Oh, we're wagering in agility. Apologies, I think I said a vigor. Hold'em, I think, is the vigor one. So we're going to block for a total of 7 on this Centauri Saber. And let's see if Josh has anything to say about that. He says, no, here you go. Have your agility, I guess. It looks like we were a bit resource starved on that turn. But now we're finally getting to a point where our new isn't able to just ignore what we're doing, and they're just going to send out this double trouble. 1 go again if you've played or activated 2 or more attack reactions, gets +2 when it hits banish the top 2 cards of their deck. But I think we're out of red hisses, so it could be a venomous bite. We're out of Justinix. Josh probably keeping a fairly good mental catalogue of attack reactions. Again, not unfamiliar with attack reactions. So I'd say he has a few things to say about that. And here we are giving up a point of block on the Presgalia, saying, show me what you got. If we got a Sigil of Solace going back up to 16. We're hoping for, I imagine Ovis was hoping to bait out a little bit more there, but Josh, clearly a master, just had the read. Yeah, what have you got? You've got nothing. And Josh is going to start his turn off playing a Money Where Your Mouth Is. Pitching a blue, finally finding a blue after a couple of turns of struggling to find one. And we're going to lead blue Money Where Your Mouth Is into Nourishing Emptiness. Nourishing coming in for a casual 9, wagering a gold with Dominate because it's the only attack action card that Josh plays. I imagine is this one of Nourishing, and the threatening the on hit of if it hits, your hero gets +1 intellect until end of turn. Josh giving a quick count of cards in deck here for Ovas, who has probably identified that fatigue really is the win con here. Gold is the payoff, but fatigue is the win con. Yeah, new looking like they've got a fair bit more going on into their deck. But this is still 9. This is more than half his life total. And it has Dominate. What do you do here? You would need to give up your mask, a card, and your arsenal if that arsenal is a defense reaction. Let's see what Ovas has to say about this. And again, we do have to remember that cards like take the upper hand don't care about weapons. They care about bets. They care about wagers. If Josh has 1 or 2 of those, he could very quickly cut Ovas's life total down to bare minimum. At which point, it doesn't really matter that whether or not you have a huge life lead or not. If like it or a huge deck lead, when you're being put to like 2 or 3, it's going to be very hard to deal with. All of a sudden, Josh's weapons become a serious problem. That's the great thing about playing warrior. Like, sure, all of us is in a fatiguing game state right now, but those weapons are just, if Josh just has go again turn to turn, and all of us gets low enough, you start taking an awful lot of cards. And eventually, you find the attack reactions, and they have to make the decision: do I block this? Or do I just say, have it or don't? Of us blocking with. It looks like that might be the last red hiss then. I thought they had already been gone, but yeah, just blocking 3, taking 6, going to 10. Josh gets his gold, another gold for Olympia's hero text, and a 5th point of intellect. I wonder if Josh has a way of giving this attack go again as well. All of us giving up the mask as well. And it looks like he might have the defense reaction. He does, going to 9 defense, sinking a card. And does Josh have a way of pushing this over? I can't imagine he doesn't. But hey, sometimes you got to get a little lucky when you're playing against a warrior. Yeah, it looks like Josh has it right here. Yeah, we're taking the upper hand here, pushing this up to 12. All of us cannot add any additional blocking cards here. So we're just taking 3, going to 13. Josh goes to 5 intellect, gets 2 gold, has a card for his arsenal, and a 5 card hand coming into the next turn. All of a sudden, news hand disruption, at least for 1 turn, doesn't look all that impressive. So, here comes the Scale Peeler card with no text anymore. Josh ignores it. I would be very surprised if he didn't get the literal card with no text. Yep, going to 17. And we have the Siren's Call. Let's see if Josh has any way of dealing with this. We've got 2 Iron Song responses. We have a Commanding Performance. We have a In the Swing. And we have the last Up the Ante. So the Up the Ante is going to be blocking this dagger. So this dagger is not going to hit. Olvas is going to get to draw his card. And Josh with a grip full of attack reactions. And then we have Spider's Bite, which I imagine is getting ignored here, going to 17. Yeah. Following up with this Leave No Witnesses. I wonder how much Josh cares. Obviously, the number on top of his deck there, very important for both Ovas and Josh right now. But it doesn't look like Josh's hand does a whole lot here. And knowing about those Iron Songs kind of makes it difficult for Josh to bluff them. So we're going to block with this Commanding Performance and an Iron Song. Keeping an Iron Song and an In the Swing in hand. And then all of us being like, yep, that's good. Blocks are good. We're going to move to the end here, I think. Or is Josh reconsidering his blocks here? Is he considering just giving up the Commanding Performance? Oh, that's an action, of course, but it's not blocking a stealth card, so who cares? Yeah, like this is a fairly pivotal turn here for Josh Lau. He really needs to keep his momentum, and his hand betrayed him. Ripping 5 cards and only one blue is an insane number. And Josh just, yeah, electing to take the one, losing a Blade Runner to the Banish Zone, very important. And losing a Precision Press. So 2 blues to the Banished Zone. No reds for this Leave No Witnesses, so no silver for Ovus. But what is Josh going to do now with a hand of triple red? It is triple red, right? And then we're pitching this Iron Song response, just sending in 2. Very nice of Josh to leave those face up for Ovus so he doesn't just goof his way through this. Ovus decided to block 6. Centauri gets +1 for that Enlightened Strike. And it looks like Josh is just going to shuffle his hand, a little bit of gamesmanship. One of these attack reactions is an arsenal. Who knows which one? And now we're going to draw up. Tunic to 3 for Ovus. Sigil of Solace back to 16. Life totals are nice and even. And then a Codex of Frailty. This is the 3rd Codex of the game, but there was 4 because one of them got Preserved Tradition back into the deck. So Josh, obviously not having a great time with this Leave No Witnesses that was just played, coming back again. And it looks like we're giving up a Hit and Run and a Slice and Dice, which are probably pretty premium. Like Hit and Runs are some of your cheapest go-agains. Like I know Josh ran 9 of them when he was on Hatchet Story, making that excellent run in Pro Tour LA. I would wonder how many he has in this Olympia deck. And yeah, we're giving up a Hit and Run and an In the Swing, which might tell you something about what that arsenal is if you were paying attention. It could be an Iron Song response. Josh pitching a snag, playing Slice and Dice into Saber for 2. So that arsenal definitely Red Iron Song response. All of us better pay attention because that is gonna get him. Blocking with this pick to pieces, going up to 3. Josh could push 3 damage over here, or threaten to at least see if there's any more defense reactions in the news deck. So we're just going to ship it. We have 16 to 11 of us with 3 cards in hand, card in arsenal. Josh with 2 gold and 4 cards in hand. And here we have Dagger Siren's Call. This card is the bane of people's existence. So it looks like we're losing one of either a Slice and Dice or an Iron Song response while keeping a Slice and Dice and Iron Song response. And there's the 4th Codex of Frailty. Of course. Why not? Sure. I guess. Whatever you want, brother. Now, it's going to be hard for any disruption to happen. You might just get the Leave No Witnesses to rip a card from the deck, or you might get Surgical Extraction. It's just going to be Command and Conquer. Threaten as much damage as possible. Of course, Josh has to discard a card here, so he's forced to get back this Nourishing Emptiness. Oh, that's brutal. And now we have a Command and Conquer, so we're just going to block 6, and that is some of the best damage in Josh's deck just gone here. I wasn't even thinking that Josh was going to be forced to grab something, because what warrior plays attacks? Some of them played this one of Nourishing, which was great at the time, and I bet has really come back to bite Josh now. So, like, I know his life total is 14 there, but that's not the important number, really, is it? It's, am I going to be able to push enough damage to win this game? Kovas. Here we have a Spider's Bite. Card that means nothing. Josh takes it. Activate new. 1 blue. Oh, well, reveal. It is an Iron Song red. If it's not blue, it doesn't get banished, Josh. Don't worry about it. We got blue, 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 blue. It's not really a whole lot that Ovus can play with here, because they all care about weapon attacks. I suppose the Blade Runners target one-handed weapons, so it could be that. I imagine if you're Josh Lau with 2 cards in deck, 4 cards in hand, and a Nourishing Emptiness, you're just going to ignore literally anything that gets thrown at you. So yeah, Ovas deciding to give his dagger go again, so that and his next dagger gets +1. So we're going to send in a Scale Peeler for 2. And here's a Surgical Extraction. So Josh, what are we going to do here? We have a Fate Foreseen for this one. That's pretty good, not going to lie. What a timely Fate Foreseen. That was pitched earlier when we had one of our terrible mono red hands, and we're pitching a blue here to send a Nourishing Emptiness for 9. No point in wagering. But this is going to sneak through a few points of damage here. Ovas with the ability to block with Tunic and 1 card. Just blocking with the Tunic. Going to 3. 2 gold here. So Josh, maybe he did wager after all. Now has to decide whether his cards are safer in his hand or in his arsenal. And it looks like that might be a sink below. We might be able to finish this game with the last 4 cards in our deck. Josh getting a Codex of Frailty count here, just in case. Okay, we're good. Yeah. We can't get rolled by this Codex of Frailty anymore. Looks like we're just going to send in a good old 15 ball here. Josh forced to give up some cards. Not ideal. And that's the only Cosmic Awakening left in the deck, I would wager. Let's go, Cosmic. Pitching 2 chi and a blue, so sending it in for 15 power. Let's see what Josh decides to do now. Can we snag it, is the question. Thank you, as it does not, because it does not gain power. It's a power setting effect. So we're going to block 6. Take 9. Go to 2. And we're just going to send in a saber for 2 and hope that all of us has forgotten what's the last card. Who knows? What could it be? We're blocking 6, baby. Yeah, Josh pass. Drop. And now it gets to the point where it doesn't matter. We have our opponent absolutely dagger locked, sending in 7 with this Enlightened Strike. And that is lethal. And Ovas Siddiqui, you move on to 1-0 in the league. That means nothing. 3. Well played, both players. Josh lost on every available metric, being cards in deck and life total. So well done, Ovas. You earned it. But Josh, you should not worry too much. You have plenty of time to come back. You are in what I have dubbed the Pablo Pintor submarine bracket of the league. That means nothing 3. And I cannot wait to see what kind of wagers Olympia can bring to the table in the coming rounds. As for that, Mistveil proving very powerful, much more powerful than our boy from Heavy Hitters, Ovas moving on. Those Sirens calls always finding purchase, those Codex of Frailties absolutely backbreaking into Warrior, and all of the Arsenal hate in the world. There was no way for Josh to keep his setup turn to turn. So, if you like seeing the League That Means Nothing 3, if you like seeing the crossover universe that is the card guys on the League That Means Nothing 3, if you like supporting players like Ovas, I would love for you to like the video, comment on the video, make sure you subscribe to Go Again Gaming so that you get every episode of the League That Means Nothing right in your YouTube subscriptions. And if you've liked my commentary, you can always find me on social media at Findles_Spirit on Twitter, posting very rarely, or more frequently, you'll find me on findlespirit.bsky.social. I've been Ian, I have been your voice of the league, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.